Just as economic conditions are assessed against potential growth, employment conditions are evaluated by estimating the trend employment level and using it as a benchmark. Trend employment refers to the level of employment required to keep the unemployment rate at its natural rate. By projecting the trend employment, we can anticipate how Korea's employment landscape is likely to evolve over the medium to long term. Looking ahead, the projected increase in trend employment is expected to slow to the mid-100,000 range during 2025 to 29, and from around 2030 onward, it is projected to shift into decline. In other words, the number of employed persons will no longer increase, it will start to decline. Accordingly, the total number of employed persons is projected to decline steadily after around 2030, reaching only about 90% of the 2024 level by 2050. What changes can we expect in the Korean economy as the number of employed persons continues to decline? You might think, isn't 90% after 25 years still fine? But it isn't. First, the downward pressure on GDP growth is expected to intensify. A decline in the number of employed persons means a reduction in labor input, one of the core factors of production. In addition, the growth rate of GDP per capita, a key indicator of individual welfare, is also expected to decline. Assuming productivity remains constant, the number of employed persons is projected to decline more rapidly than the population itself. As a result, GDP per capita is expected to come under structural downward pressure from around 2030 onward. Lastly, as the share of older individuals with low labor force participation continues to rise, pension and healthcare spending burdens are projected to increase sharply. This burden is expected to roughly double, rising from about 10% of GDP in 2025 to around 20% by 2050. Ultimately, raising the labor force participation rate is the most effective and urgent priority. First, policies must strengthen re-employment pathways so older workers can remain employed, and support must be expanded to help women with career interruptions balance work and family responsibilities. Second, stronger links between education and employment are needed so young people can enter the labor market more quickly. In addition to ongoing efforts to raise the birth rate, it is also essential to utilize foreign workers to help fill labor gaps. If these structural reforms succeed and raise the labor force participation rate by 4 percentage points above the baseline scenario, the decline in employment could be delayed by approximately 5 years, and the number of employed workers in 2050 could be maintained at roughly 95% of today's level. In addition, per capita GDP growth would grow about 0.3 percentage points faster per year, and the burden of pension and medical expenditures would ease as well. Alongside raising labor force participation, improving productivity is equally essential. Over the long term, Korea must foster new growth industries and reform its education system so that young people, women, and older workers alike can fully realize their productive potential.